So, today we're diving into the story of a man who had, by all accounts, a perfect life. You know, the whole package. Loving family, respectable job, a nice home, and then one day, seemingly out of nowhere, he just decides to light a match and burn it all to the ground. I mean, it's a wild question, isn't it? What could possibly make a person who seems to have everything, a good, ordinary person, just completely destroy their own life and walk away?
All right, so to really understand the sheer scale of this explosion, we first have to take a look at the life that was being blown up. Let's paint a picture of the Strickland family's world, which seemed, well, perfect.
And really, the most striking thing about the Strickland's life was just how normal it all was. I mean, for 17 years, they were the picture of a respectable, upper-middle-class family in London. You had Mrs. Strickland, who loved throwing these little literary parties. You had her husband, Charles, a stockbroker, 2 kids, a boy and a girl, a lovely home. Everything was just exactly as you'd expect. And right there, in the middle of it all, was Charles Strickland himself. Now, you might be picturing some kind of tortured artist, but no. He was, well, he was just a guy. In fact, his own wife, who loved him, by the way, even said he was unbelievably dull. A good man, sure. A decent man, absolutely. But boring. So boring. Which makes what happens next completely insane. Okay, so now let's get to the moment that perfect picture just shatters. Because one day, with zero warning, Charles Strickland is just gone. And the news just rips through London society. It's delivered with this brutal, simple line. He's left his wife. Just like that. After 17 years of this perfectly quiet, respectable life, he vanished. And here's the crazy part. There was no big fight, no tearful farewell. All he left behind was a short, cold letter from Paris. 10 lines, basically saying, "I'm not coming back." And of course, everyone immediately jumps to the one conclusion that makes any sense to them. He's run off with another woman. So this is where our narrator actually gets pulled into the mess. The wife, Mrs. Strickland, is absolutely devastated. She's convinced it's just some kind of midlife crisis, and she begs the narrator to go to Paris, find Charles, and just talk some sense into him. Now, at this point, everyone thinks they know what's going on. His wife is picturing this whole sordid affair, right? Her husband in some fancy Paris hotel spending a ton of money on some younger woman. You know, a classic case of temporary insanity that he'll hopefully snap out of. But the reality could not be further from that. Because when the narrator finally tracks him down, Strickland isn't in a grand suite. Not even close. He's in this cheap, run-down hotel in a really seedy part of Paris. He's all alone, living in this tiny, absolutely filthy attic room. We're talking total poverty. There's no women, there's no fancy life, there's just grime. And this, right here, is where we get to the big confrontation. Our narrator is totally bewildered at this point, but he sits down with Strickland, fully prepared to give him this big speech about his duty, his family, his reputation. But what Strickland says next, it's stranger and frankly more shocking than any affair could ever be. So the narrator just lays it on him. Look, your wife is in pieces. Your reputation is completely destroyed. Your children, they might actually starve because of this. What do you have to say for yourself? And his answer about his heartbroken wife? A simple, ice-cold, she'll get over it. That's it. No I'm sorry, no regret, just chillin', absolute indifference. Okay, what about his reputation? The fact that everyone thinks he's a total monster. Let them think it. He could not care less. But this next part is just brutal. The narrator asks if he cares even a little bit that his own kids might go hungry. His answer? Not in the least. It's just monstrous. It's beyond cold. Then Strickland flat out denies it, swears on his honor there is no other woman, and with that, the one and only rational explanation for all of this just evaporates. So the narrator, totally horrified, is left with the one single burning question. Why? Why do all this? And Strickland's answer is just 4 words. I want to paint. That's it. That's the whole reason. He blew up his entire world, left his family, and chose to live in poverty, not for another person, not for some grand ideal, but because he had this sudden, desperate need to paint. I mean, what does that even mean? This isn't some 20-year-old art student. This is a middle-aged stockbroker. This wasn't just a career change, it was something else entirely. It's like he was possessed. Just think about how insane this is. The guy is 40. He has zero formal training as a painter. He's never really done it before, has no idea if he's any good, and he's thrown away this perfectly comfortable, secure life for the ultimate long shot based on nothing but a feeling, a need. And this quote really gets to the heart of it. The narrator asks him, "Do you even think you have what it takes to be a great painter?" And Strickland gives this incredible analogy. See, for him, this isn't a passion. It isn't a choice. It's survival. He has to do it. So where does this wild story come from? It's from the novel The Moon and Sixpence by W. Somerset Maugham. And while Charles Strickland isn't a real person, his story is very famously inspired by the life of the painter Paul Gauguin, who, you guessed it, was a stockbroker who abandoned his family to go paint. And all of this leaves us with a really tough, kind of haunting question, doesn't it? Was Charles Strickland just a cruel, selfish monster who destroyed the lives of the people who loved him? Or was he a man completely possessed by a creative demon, a force so powerful it just wiped out every normal human feeling? It really makes you wonder, what is the real price of genius? And more importantly, who ends up paying the bill?